Hello, everybody. Dan's going to pop his camera on soon, hopefully, so you can see his gorgeous face. Welcome to the Old We're Elevate and Celebrate Old Returns online event today. We're super excited for you to have us join us. So we'll just wait a few minutes while people are joining. For those of you who are joining all the events today, all the workshops and the podcasts, I'm sorry, you're going to have this on repeat in your head, but just so you know, you've got 20% off all day today, 24 hours on Aura. I've just popped it in the chat. And of course, if you want the recordings for any of the workshops or podcasts today, then you can grab those too. And the link is in the chat there as well. Dan, before I start and introduce you, how do I make it so it's just us two on the screen?
Um,
Oh, you're here now.
I don't know how you make both of us. Maybe if you pin,
Okay,
if you
let me
pin
try.
me and you, or you can do it as speaker view.
That's what I did. We are on speaker view.
So if it's on speaker view, it'll just keep switching between the two of us. But you want to make sure that everyone else is muted because George is unmuted at the moment, I think.
Okay. Right. So if everybody can mute themselves, that would be handy, right? And then if I
If
pin
you
you,
go, if you go
you're
to where
most
it says,
important, to be fair.
if you see where it says participants, if you click on the little arrow next to it, and then the participants should come up. Just click where it says mute all.
Yeah. And then you need to unmute yourself, right?
Yeah. So now I'm
There we
unmuted
go.
again. But that will just like keep everyone muted. But I don't know how you
Perfect.
get two people on screen. But yeah, if you put it on speaker view, that should be fine.
Well, I've pinned you anyway, babe. So you're going to be the
Fab.
star of the show, which is
Star of the
exactly why
show.
you're here.
Fab.
So we are now speaking to, if you don't know him already, Mr. Daniel Rosen. Thank you so much for
Hey.
joining us. We're super happy to have you here. We're going to be chatting to you about entrepreneur life, everything you've achieved throughout your whole career, and how you've turned your what was a hobby into your absolute full-time career and hugely successful career. So we can't wait to dive into that. If anybody has any questions, please pop them in the chat and we'll probably get to those towards the end. So please pop them in. So we've got some bits to ask Dan so we can put him in the firing line at the end. So let's just start at the beginning. How did you get here? At what point was there a turning point where you decided to go from hobby to full-time pro pole, or was it, a bit, was it completely organic? Was it a really decisive thing?
Yeah.
Tell
It
us about
kind
it.
of like just happened really organically. I think well, I started pole in 2008 and that was just as a hobby, and I just sort of like took classes, and then I started competing, and then the competing then, well, because obviously, like when you compete, you need like a studio space to train. Well, at the time, there wasn't as many studios as there is now. And my most local studio was Stacey's studio. And Stacey was like 45 minutes away from me. And at the time, I wasn't really making any money. So I was like, right, I'm going to find a space I can rent. So I rented out a community center, which ended up becoming my like full-time studio. But at the time, I used to just put a pole up and down to go and train for my competitions. And then people were asking for private lessons. And then I was like, actually, while I'm here, I may as well do some group classes. And I started group classes. So then I went part-time at work, and then I went full-time. Then I started teaching workshops. And it all just kind of really naturally progressed from there, I would say. And then yeah, that kind of led me to the career of like traveling and teaching and owning a studio. And then COVID really is when my life moved to more online stuff. And yeah, and now I teach online. I've actually got some of my online students here now.
Yeah.
George trains me online, Hannah does. Who else? I'm sure I saw someone else that was in there as well. Oh, Candice, she's turned her camera off. But yeah, so there's a few of my online students here as well. Hi, Candice.
I love that. And oh, Jodie's
Jodie's a
just
new
put she's a
student of
new
mine
student.
too.
Yeah, I love that. That's really, really awesome. So, of course, let's talk about these businesses you run, because you run multiple businesses, and I know, like, Instagram pages and that kind of thing. So, can you just give us a breakdown of what? Because I can't bloody keep up either. So, what is it
Yeah,
you're
it's
doing now?
listen,
Um,
I can't keep up, and they're my fucking businesses, to be honest. So like, I'll be honest, like I've kind of had loads of little different things I've done. My main things are obviously traveling and teaching is one of my big things. But my biggest project, I would say, is my online classes. My online classes are basically my new studio, if that makes sense, because I don't have my studio anymore. So to go in order, my first business I ever started was my studio. And that was just like a small little part-time gig. I ended up expanding it and it became bigger and it became a limited company. So then that became my first business I ever sort of, and I learned everything that I know about business. I kind of learned from running that studio. Oh my God, it taught me so much. And then from there, I ended up getting married. So I needed to raise funds for getting married because, as everyone knows, getting married in the UK is freaking expensive. So I decided to make some merch because I was doing these funny characters like Susan and Danielle at the time, and it was so popular. I thought, well, maybe I could do some Susan merch and it'll raise some money. So that then raised money for my wedding, and it ended up becoming another sideline business, which created like Polols, which is like the meme page, fail page slash merchandise page. That business kind of tanked as soon as we left Europe, as you know, that screwed Ulra probably as well as places like Pole Junkie and stuff. And the thing is, it was trying to decide whether I was at a point where I could really push the merchandise enough to like move it all to like Europe and stuff. And for a
Yeah.
little while I did. I was getting it shipped out of Europe, but honestly, it was too much work. I take my hat off to you. I tell you, running a brand, for me, I wasn't even running a brand really. It was merchandise. So much easier than running a brand. Oh my God. So yeah, I take my hat off to you because it is so much work. But so that was again part of my business. It still is. Pole lulls are still very much part of my life. I don't run it anymore. It's ran by my assistant. She does all of it now. Um, but I still use it for advertising. I still get a lot of paid advertisements through there. So it's still part of my business. But yeah, and then obviously the Pole Destroyer is my online stuff. I'm going to be running soon two new like online projects, which are going to be um, one of them is just sort of like an online course that people can buy, which is like social media for pole dancers. So I'm really looking forward to that because I just love social media and how it works. I'm really fascinated by it. And then I'm going to
Mm.
be running some for like professional pole dancers that want to make money from pole. I'm going to be running a like polepreneur kind of intensive for people who want to have like a proper mentorship, one-on-one feedback on like how to grow their business. Because for many people, like they forget that social media now is where like careers are made within pole. It used to be, well, back in our day, it sounds makes us sound so old, but back when we were making names for ourselves, we had to compete. Like it was really the
Yeah.
only way we could make names for ourselves. Whereas now, there are people out there that I know that haven't even ever competed and they're making a
No.
name for themselves just through social media. So yeah, so I just
Yeah.
really embraced it when it became a thing and I learned so much about it and I've just really deep dived into it and I just want to be able to help other people with it because it's not as hard as it seems. It just takes a lot of planning.
No,
So
and
yeah,
I mean, it's quite overwhelming. I think, if someone's not on social media already, or they have been, and a lot of people have quite a lot of emotional attachment to social media, and I think sometimes that's
yeah,
where it can kind of go wrong because you need to disconnect yourself a little bit from it. You can't base your entire life feelings on how many likes you got on a post. You need
right.
to have some boundaries there. So, oh, that sounds super interesting. We'll get a little bit more into that later, but I want to understand a little bit more about pole destroyers and was there a pivotal moment? Obviously COVID was massive for you because you started teaching online. You obviously saw a gap in the market and you really ran with it, and that's amazing. And it's obviously worked out super super well. But was there a pivotal moment where you were kind of like, do you know what? This is what I want to do.
This is something.
Or was it strategic? Was it like I'm getting older, I'm going to start an online thing, or was it, what? How did that kind of
No,
come about?
no, do you know what? It just generically happened. And actually, do you know what? I have this belief that good things will come from making good choices. Like if you do stuff like out of the goodness of your heart, something good will always come from it. And I always use that as a perfect example. At the time, the first ever challenge, which was an unpaid challenge, it was free. It was 31 days with Dan. Next January will be the 5th year anniversary that we'll be doing the challenge, and I'm going to do it again as 31 days with Dan. Um, and that was like a free challenge. Everyone got it for free because no one had money at the time. Everyone was like struggling with COVID and stuff, and people were just donating what they could, and I was so grateful for that. It really helped me out financially, and I had some online classes, like tricks classes, that people could pay to come to, so they were paying to come to those if they could afford them, as like a thank you for the free conditioning classes. But at the time, I had gone into being really completely honest with you, I'd gone into a bit of a depressive period when I moved, because we had lockdown, and then I moved house between lockdowns, and I moved about an hour and 15 minutes away from where I lived previous to that, and that was about 30 minutes away from my studio. So I was really, really far from everything that I knew, and I just had no one here. I literally had no one here. I was then in the second lockdown in a house that was new. I didn't know anyone, so I was like, I went into a really depressive period, and when I get depressed or when I'm busy, I just eat. It's just how I deal with things. I just eat. I eat my feelings, and I gained a lot of weight and I lost a lot of strength. So I was like, I literally just posted and I was like, does anyone want to do like conditioning with me every day? We'll do like 30 minutes every day together. We'll just do it on Zoom. Like, just drop me a message if you want to do it. Let's all do it together. I thought maybe we'd get like, I don't know, 50 to 100. I knew we'd get a lot. I thought maybe 50 to 100. Well, like 10,000 people later
Oh my
in that
God.
Facebook group. And we tried doing it. Again, this is how you just learn as you go along in business. Like, I tried doing it all on Facebook first. That didn't work. Then it was like, I was like, okay, guys, we're gonna move to Zoom. So I was like, here's a Zoom link. It was so like unorganized, but it was like a free thing. So once I kind of got into a flow of it, and I had some help from some other businesses that were able to like teach me some things on how to do it all, it went really, really well. And we just all saw such amazing results from it. I've still got so many of the before and after videos from that challenge, and people really put themselves into it. And even to this day, every January, people will use it as a boost. A lot of people who maybe don't maintain their strength as well, like me, we do it, Monday, Wednesday, Friday every week. But I just wanted to see if I could make a way of making conditioning kind of fun. And it isn't fun. And I will never be able to make it fun, but I will be able to try and like distract people from the hell that is conditioning. And I try to make people laugh, and I try to come up with different themes. We have workouts where my fucking cat will dictate what moves we're going to train that day. It's just like, I wanted to find a way that I would make it bearable for me as well as everyone else, because I'm so similar to all of the students in the sense I really consider myself like quite a normal polar. I hate conditioning. Like, I don't want to do conditioning either. Like, I just want to do it all on my good side, but I know I need to do my bad side. So yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, George is right. This is I want to show this just in
Oh
case.
yeah.
I don't know if people are going to see the video or if they were watching a podcast. But yeah, this is the spin the wheel that we do. We spin it, and they get a choice of exercises. So this one, we've got like shoulder mount side V's, Russian twists, D slides, Jamila to invert. Oh, so many different exercises that we do. Again, like, does that make conditioning any more bearable? Not really. It takes the edge off a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. I love that twist on it. And the thing is, I said this to you years ago, ultimately, Dan, your personality is what sells you. You're super fun. You're very caring. Um, Unbeknown to popular belief.
I know. You'd
You
never
really
guess
care
if you
about your
read reviews online.
students. Yeah, and I think you've been able to package that in such a way, and I think it's really, really amazing. And it really goes to show by how many people are, with you online, joining you online, and staying with you, because
Right.
what you're giving is such good value as well. So I think that's really amazing. I want to jump back to that social media for pole dancers course that you're going to be doing. I don't know how much you can share yet, because I know it's not quite ready to launch, but I'd love to know a little
Yeah.
bit more about it. Um, George is messaging about your conditioning classes. She needs links, babe. She needs links to old ones that she's not done.
Yeah, so they're talking about decorating with Dan. This is another. I, I can't even explain. I can't even explain that class. It's just it would make no sense to anyone who doesn't do the pole destroyers. Just come and take the pole destroyers. Come and try and take a class. It will make so much more sense then. But sorry, what was the question before we got distracted by that? What were you asking?
We
Oh,
got
about the
distracted.
course.
We got distracted. Yeah, I'd love to know a little bit more about the course. Like I said, I don't know how much you can share because I know it. I know it's not quite ready for launch, or is it ready for launch?
Yeah, I mean, I can give you a rough idea. So basically, there's going to be like, I basically wanted to create like an ebook for pole dancers on how to manage their social media. Because the thing is so many people start, and I see it all the time where I'm like, oh, this person's going for it, okay. And I see their post, they post every day for like maybe 10 days, and then all of a sudden it just drops off again. And I'm like, I wish I could teach people like how they can make it more consistent, so, and how to like basically, you know, use different tools to make their lives easier, to create content, how to repurpose content, all these sorts of little tricks that I
Yeah,
use. And I use a
yeah,
lot of different tricks with social media that really, really help boost my numbers. And yeah, so it was going to be creating like a PDF for people just with that. And then more so like the mentorships are going to be for people who are like wanting to make money from pole, whether it be like becoming a teacher, whether it means like performing or whatever, helping them sort of navigate their social media to be able to help them boost their sales and really be able to, you know, create an income from it. Because yeah, it's a lot of people have this whole vibe where pole dancers have to like, I don't know, be like struggling artists. And I hate that. And I really want pole dancers that are professional to be able to make a decent living, because you know, whilst so many people as well, like when they think of pole dancers, especially people like you and me that travel the world teaching, they look at the numbers in that class and they think, wow, they've made like so much money today. But actually, what we need to be talking about is the fact that we can only do it for a short period of time. So yes, it is really good. But if you took the money that we make over a pole career and then spread it out over their lifespan, it's not anywhere near enough to sustain them for their retirement, right? For, you
yeah,
know, when they want to
yeah.
finish. So my kind of thing is like, I always panic because I'm like, I haven't got anything else that I can do. Like I'm not, you know, I always use my friend Amy as an example, but Amy Cowles, she's a scientist. Like she can go back to science when she is done with pole. I haven't got that. So I'm very much like, right, how can I make sure that I've got something to invest to then look after me
So
later
really
down the
trying to
line?
like inspire a passive income that doesn't necessarily rely on your body, but you know, you can take your
Yeah,
knowledge
like
and
because your body's only going to last you for a short period of time. And I just don't, I don't know. I guess I have a lifestyle that I enjoy living, you know, and I want to make sure I can live that life. Do you know, I don't want to be struggling when I'm in my, you know, 50s, 60s because I can't pole as well anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm
mm,
just like, no, I want to make sure I can maintain this long term. So, and I just think, you know, little things like I meet professional pole dancers all the time at events and stuff, and I always talk to them about they inevitably we all end up talking about our careers and money and stuff. And I always say to them like, oh, you know, like, do you have a pension? Do you invest any money? Like, do you save any money? Like, and they're like, oh, like, no, I've not paid into a pension. I'm like, why? Like, I think stuff like that is so, so important. Like, yeah, I don't know. But
sorry,
I
I'm
grew
just
up
reading the
obviously.
message. Did you read the message?
I'm 55 and a part. Daniela, babe, I'm 37 and I'm dying ready, babe. Okay, so listen, if I'm praying I can still do all this when I'm 55. I'm telling you now, and I'm gonna work my hardest to make sure I am. But like, oh my god, like, what
Yeah.
if not? You
It's
know?
just having something, like you say, it's having something. And I think as you get older, it's something with it when it's your full-time career, it's definitely something you think about. It makes me laugh because I haven't been able to get away with not learning about pensions and investments because my dad's a financial advisor. So
Right.
you know, I've kind of been brought up in that world, but you're totally right. And I think like it goes, it's not just the pole industry, you know, the dance industry or all of it. It's like hobby but makes you a bit of money, right? That's kind of how it's seen. But why can't it be full-time career and good lifestyle? So no, I think that'll be really valuable for a lot of people. So you talked about how the challenge helped grow like your social media quite a lot. Obviously you've got 10,000 people sign up, which is incredible. And I'm sure obviously, yeah, that really boosted the socials. Is there any other things that you would say, you know, you really notice? I mean, I don't want to answer for you, but there's things that I see you do that I imagine create amazing engagement and a good following from you. But just to tell everybody else, you know, is it something like reels, or is it challenges, or is it free advice, or is there anything
It's
in
a mixture
particular?
of everything.
Yeah.
I guess. I think, yeah, genuinely, I think it's a mixture of everything. I think if you're trying to grow your platform, you need to play with different things, because some things work for me that don't work for other people. And I use this as an example a lot when I'm talking to people about this, that humor on my page works for me. But then when other people then try and transition to humor when they've never done content like that before, if you already have an audience at that point, it can come across as ungenuine, because people realize that you're doing it because you just think it's the right thing to do, because you've seen Dan Rosen do it, and Dan Rosen gets hundreds of thousands of followers from it. So maybe I should do funny content, but it doesn't mean that's what's going to work for you. Maybe your content will be better focused on educational content. You've got to think
Mhm.
of like, what do you enjoy doing? Don't just make funny content because you think it's going to do well. Like, make it because you enjoy making people laugh, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, if you enjoy teaching people, why don't you do some educational content? If you enjoy training, why don't you make some content based around training? Now, this is actually a really funny thing as well, because people think, well, I already post my training videos. That's not enough. Like, posting a training video just shows people that you do training and that you're really good at pole. What about posting a behind the scenes? What about posting like, here is the process of how I taught myself this trick? That's actually what people want to see,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. They
for
want
years
journeys
and
now.
years, yeah, they want journeys. They want to know the person. It's called social media, right? It's got to be social. They want to be learning about these people that they're following, because they're not just interested in following you to see if you're good at tricks. That's great, but they want to know that you're a nice person as well. They want to know that they can relate to you. And actually, I think
Mm.
part of the reason why I've been successful is because people can relate to me. I don't have this like perfect body. I'm up and down in my weight all the time. I suffer with mental health, and I'm really honest about it. Like, I'm very much a real person. Like, you don't look at me and think, wow, God, like he's so good at pole. He's so perfect at pole. Like, I could imagine that people probably look at people like Bendy Kate and think, oh my God, like I'll never be able to do that. She never posts fails and stuff. She is so perfect. But the truth is that she's a human being too. And she just doesn't post that side of things. Whereas I do, because I want people to know that the video that you just saw before this was the good take of 20 goes, you know?
Yeah.
And I want
Yeah.
people to know that, you know, like the strength only came because I trained 3 days a week with all my online students. If I wasn't joining in with them, I'd be weak as fuck. Like, I literally would, because I just don't maintain strength very well.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
I think ultimately, like we touched on this a little bit in the Poll Pro Q&A this morning as well, but ultimately it's what's your why? Why are you doing it in the first place? Like if it's just to
right.
gain followers, there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's just to grow a following, then yeah, you need to go and tick boxes that you know is going to grow your following, right? If it's to actually, you know, like you said about performers, if somebody wants to start posting on socials because they want performance gigs, then actually the perfect takes is what people want to see, because you're going to be booked for a performance ultimately, right? The journey is good too, but you know, you're going to want to see
Mm,
what they can actually do, or their choreography or their creativity or whatever. So ultimately it comes down to the why you're doing what you're doing. And I think, you know, for you, your social media has massively grown obviously since your pole destroyers, and I think you really found your niche at that point with what you wanted to share as well, right? So you know,
yeah.
you know relatability is really important for selling your online stuff as well, because if people
Yeah.
know, like, and trust you, they're gonna come on board with what you're doing. So I
Well,
think
yeah.
that's like one of the main things. So I just wanted to touch on, because obviously we are talking about like turning that hobby into your full-time business as well. What's your kind of view on, you know, pole is quite a niche market. It's not a market that's going to really attract like big sponsorships, brand deals, and that kind of thing. Is there any suggestions you have for people who might be sat there thinking, you know, for example, an athlete might go and get sponsored by Gymshark or something like that. They'll get better deals. We don't really have that in the pole industry. Do you think it's coming? Do you think it's
Mm,
something, you know, from my point of view for Aura, it's something that was really important to me, that when I got my team on board, that they were paid for the content that they create for Aura. They have to do one post a month for me, and they get paid for that post, and they also earn a commission if they get any sales as well. And I know
right.
it sounds really minimal, but it was really important to me, because I was like, this is
Yeah.
a sponsorship deal. I am, as a brand, is sponsoring them essentially with their kit, their clothing, and they should be paid for it. Like, it's not easy to go make
Yeah, for
content. Like,
sure.
it takes time, and you
I
know,
don't I don't know that companies like Gymshark and stuff were all really Yeah, I think people are like, oh, why are they not using pole dancers and stuff? But actually, it's nothing. I don't think it's anything to do with the fact that we're pole dancers. I think it's more just because of the fact that they realize that we're very niche. So for them, it makes more sense to spend their budget with people that they know will reach a bigger target
Yeah.
audience. And I
Oh,
get that.
100%. Yeah.
So I don't think, when people are like, oh, it's because they hate pole dancers. I don't think it's anything to do with that. I think it's a business decision. And actually, they are using pole dancers a lot more now than they used to. Actually, I heard, what's his name? Oh my God, the guy who lives in London. He's got one leg and he's amazing. Tattoo pole
Oh,
boy,
Andrew.
Andrew. Um, Andrew did a gig for, I think it was Shaw deodorant. I think it
Oh,
was.
wow.
That's a big brand deal. That's a big brand
Yeah.
deal. He did some work for them. Black Stage are working with Nike. That's a really big brand deal. They're definitely coming. They're definitely there. They're definitely gonna increase, I'm sure, and there will be a lot more of them in the future, I'm sure. I think though it will be more that we will be used to make it more of a diverse and to make the fitness audience more diverse rather than making it like about pole dancing.
No.
I think it will just be like a really cool niche to have on the list
Mm,
rather than just having like football and whatever the main
yeah.
sports that we have here. I think it'll just look really cool and it'll make them stand out a bit more. But I think more will start working with us for sure. I do think though that while pole is in the clubs, it probably will still hold us back. And I kind of like that. I'll
Yeah.
be honest,
Yeah.
that's a really controversial opinion. I don't actually want it to become a massive mainstream. And the reason
No.
why is because I love that we're a smaller community. And already within our community, we've grown so much. And actually, as a result of that, it's made the community not as nice a place to be. Again, controversial opinion maybe, but it's definitely not as friendly and as open as it used to be. And I think that's because of how much more mainstream it is now compared to what it was when I started in 2008. Like when I started in 2008, we were such a small community that no one was like arguing and stuff online like people do now. It was nowhere near as much drama as there is now. And I think that's just because the industry is becoming bigger. So that's
Mm.
why I'm kind of glad that we have that side of us, like the clubs, like the sexy style that inadvertently unfortunately
That's
does
such a
hold us
huge
back.
part of it as well. Like it would be, we don't want to dampen what pole is, really. And
Yeah,
I think it needs to be all of those things combined. So yeah, okay, that's
but
really,
I'm
really
glad we have
interesting.
that.
I'd be really interested. We talked obviously a lot about socials and like we've talked about following and stuff like that. But is there other things that you're doing? And this is more for the business professionals, and this is whether people are in studios or are whatever they're doing within their pole business. But what else do you look for when you're looking to grow your business? Like, are you looking for email signups? How do you kind of measure that? Because followers don't necessarily mean money. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean that you're going to make money just because you've gained 10,000 followers because a post went viral. That doesn't mean, obviously for you, you're online, you've got a little bit of an easier funnel and you're warming them up and you're
Mm,
funneling them through to Polder Stores or whatever. But then there must be more to it, right? I mean, for us, email
for
signups
sure.
are like golden. Like that's the
Well, let
main
me
thing,
tell you
really.
as well, like exactly what you said about, and especially for women, women on social media, pole dancing women will have a large percentage of that being men. It's just in that, especially if you're a sexy style pole dancer, a large percentage of your following will be men who are watching, and that's okay. But you're not going to be able to sell anything to them. So you got to just bear that in mind that actually someone having a large following doesn't always equal that they're making loads of money because if a large following of those people are just men, well, they're not going to sign up to your online um, fitness class. It's actually, I know it sounds crazy to say this, but I'd actually probably recommend that person if they came to me on this, like their polepreneur mentorships. I'd be like, how do you feel about creating like an OnlyFans? Is that something you want to go into? Because
Yeah.
actually, if your audience is mainly men, maybe you need to have something to sell to them because that could be a good twist. But yeah, I think yeah, like you said, followers doesn't equal income because of lots of different reasons. Having a video go viral, unfortunately, just won't equal sales, but it might equal some, maybe. Well, I think what you need to focus on is for sure mailing lists. I think like if you can grow your mailing list and just have everyone on email, that will always help you because social media can be taken away from us at any point, but our mailing list can't. Right. So, our mailing list, we will always have access to. If my Instagram gets deleted now, I've got my mailing list.
Yeah.
Does it have 114,000 people on it? It absolutely doesn't, but it's still better
I
than
think the
having
metric
nothing.
though is like 10%, isn't it? If you can have 10% of your followers on a mailing list, that's a really good place to start. I think
Then
that's the
that's good.
metric to work towards. And I think, that makes sense, right? Because like you said, and I think you posted something recently actually that I didn't know about the inactive followers.
Yeah. Oh, actually, really
Hmm.
funny on that. I've been meaning to post about this. So I have been so you can't press delete on all of them, which is really
Really
annoying. You have to
annoying.
go through and you have to delete every single one. And well, I had over 1,000 on there. So I was like, oh, that's really annoying. But actually, funny story, since deleting those, I've been like deleting 100 every day. My following has started shooting up again. And I don't know if that is just coincidence. Maybe my content's been good over the last few days or whatever. But yeah, something has
Yeah,
happened, and
really
all of a sudden, my
interesting.
following is starting to pop back up again. I've noticed the
Hmm.
numbers are going back up. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to continue to delete them because I'm just a bit OCD with it. I
Yeah,
just
you've
want to
got
see it as
OCD with
zero.
it now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I just want to get it down to zero, but it's going to take me a
Whereas
few more days probably.
I've got the ADHD side of it, which I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Went in, deleted about five, realized I couldn't delete all of them, and then got bored and got distracted by something else.
Got straight.
And I've
Yeah,
only
yeah,
just thought
exactly.
about it again now. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting when you put that. So, in terms of, I know you've spoken about this ebook as well, but have you done any digital products before? Have you sold anything? I know you're generally a subscription-based platform. Obviously, your workshops are, per person, minimums, and etc. But have you tried selling online stuff yet? Like, have you got programs that you're already
No, so
selling?
I've got, well, yes, kind of. So I've got my there's like an off the pole strength and conditioning program that I sell,
Oh
which
yeah,
is like
that
a
launched.
purchase you can purchase as one off. So yeah, so that launched, and that was just for people who, because I used to get asked it all the time, and I just thought I need something not only for the people who are subscribed to be able to use if they were on holiday and they still wanted to work out or whatever, but also just for people who would message. I could be like, yeah, I actually do have something, so here you go, here's the link. And
Yeah.
people can buy that as a one-off. The reason they can buy that though as a one-off is because if they're buying an off-pole program, the light in this is maybe they don't have a pole at home, so there's no point in them subscribing to the pole destroyers because
Yeah.
it's all pole. So that one is just off the pole completely. But yeah, no, this will be my first. So that ebook that is going to be coming out in the next month, that one will be my first proper, what I would call like an actual download. So it'd be like a
Yeah, like
download
a
and it goes on.
product.
Yeah, I mean, with the one-off purchase for the Polder stories, you still have to have access to the Polder stories, even though you have access to it for life. It's like you still have to have access to the Polder stories because the videos were too big. I couldn't. It wasn't something you just press download and it'd be on your laptop within 5 minutes. So that's the only reason why I didn't do it with that like that. But that's the only one really. Yeah, will be the one that I'm creating soon that you can actually download it. But I've helped
Mhm.
like with some, like when Yvonne Smink injured herself, I helped her with creating a website and stuff, and that one you could download as a one-off. So this will be the first one for me.
Nice. Oh, that's
Yeah.
really cool. So, can you give us some tips then? If people are sat there now and they're like, do you know what? I really want to go and grow my online presence. I'm going to buy your ebook in a month's time when it's released because I'm really, really interested. But is there just some like simple tips that you could give people like right now to say, if you leave this podcast today and that's your goal, what can they go and actually implement like
Now,
immediately?
yeah,
Delete your inactive
I'll try and give
followers.
you like my main ones. I mean, there's so many, but like repurpose your content. Like use, don't just film a combo once and then never post it again. Like, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I do that a lot too. I do, but like if you've got a professional photo shoot, utilize that photography and like make some slides with it. Maybe ask your followers some questions using it. Like create some like graphics with it. If you've got a video that was filmed professionally, could you create some different content with it? Can you repurpose it? Sometimes even just reposting a video that did well is worth reposting it again a few months later, because I always tell people that if 20% of your following, if 20% of your following see that video, you've been so lucky, because it's very, very rare that anyone manages to get more than that. So the lightness is, if you repost it, a new audience of people will see it. So that's my first tip. Second tip is to obviously like edit your content and schedule it. Whether you're using a scheduling website on the PDF, I'm going to give you an idea of loads of websites I use. Schedule it in the app if you want to, although it is a little bit shit. So I'd recommend using a scheduling website. and schedule it all ahead of time. Stories you can even schedule. You can schedule everything now. So it's like, do it all so you don't have to worry about it. Because if you have to do it on that day and something comes up, you just won't post that day. Consistently posting, super important. It keeps you in the algorithm, it keeps you active. Also, engaging with other people's content, super important. Instagram is definitely gonna give you more favor if you're not only posting on Instagram, but using it as a user and not just posting and then leaving again. So yeah, so make sure you're engaging with other people's stuff, following other people and stuff, doing things like that. Make
Mm.
sure that you're utilizing things like, you know, some of the new features that they do, like trial reels. Make sure you're using trial reels. Trial reels will show your reels to people that aren't your followers. So it's like when you do a post, let's say, for example, when I do a post, I'll normally post it and then I'll also post it again as a trial reel so that I've got two opportunities for people to see that content, but also just because it tells you whether the content's any good or not. So if it does really, really well on trial reels with people that don't follow you, maybe it's worth creating more content like that. So use trial reels. It can
Mm.
be used for so many different things. Like,
Mm.
yeah, oh
I
God,
have a
there's so many.
question
I
on
could,
the no, yeah, no, that's perfect. That is perfect. I just have a quick question though on the engaging with other people's content. Because this is actually something I'd like to do more with Aura. I'd like Aura to engage more on other people's content. We like try and follow as many people that follow us as possible as well. My time is limited. So
mm,
do you use somebody to help you do that? I
yeah.
don't mean a bot. I don't want a bot, but
So
like
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Don't do that because
no.
it becomes very obvious. And also, there's this weird thing that I've noticed. I'm not going to mention names, but I noticed a couple of businesses. One of them was a studio, and one of them was just like a professional pole dancer. And I'd noticed that they'd commented on my post. It was this really lovely comment. They didn't follow me. And I was like,
Oh
okay,
yes,
that's.
I've
I
had
was like, that's
this.
fine. And then I started to notice it on loads of other people's reels as well. So what they're doing is they're copying and pasting like a generic nice comment. It was something like, oh, the way you dance on the pole is so inspiring. I was like, oh, that's really nice. And our comment back was, oh, thanks so much. Until I saw it on everyone else's fucking reel, and I was like, oh, you fucking
I
bitch.
know,
You
I
told me
know
I
what
was
you're talking
inspiring.
about because I've had the same. But yes, and that's what I mean. I don't want it to be. It's. I don't want it to be disingenuine, but obviously,
Mm,
and I want. But it's just I haven't got time. So many people tag us, especially photo shoot pictures, and I try my best to comment on every single one of them if they're posting in our
I
outfits.
think
But yeah,
can I be brutally honest with you though? I think,
I
I
don't
know you've
know.
said you don't, I know you said you don't have the time, but like, you probably take a shit at least once a day and it takes you 5 minutes. Use that 5 minutes and go and comment on
You
people's
don't have
stuff.
kids, Dan. I don't
No,
get 5 minutes to myself, babe. Not even when I'm having a shit.
but like, it's that whole thing. Like, when you're in bed, before you go to bed, just commit to 5 minutes, just quickly scroll through and just put some comments, even if it's just
Yeah.
on the
I mean,
first
I
10
do
people that
do
come up.
it, but I would love to do
Yeah,
more.
I was
That's
gonna
that's
say
all I was
I see
saying.
you do
Yeah.
it, so I know you definitely do some.
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't,
yeah.
but and when I say this, but I just want to clarify to people as well. I'm not talking about going on to random people's profiles that you don't follow. I'm talking about like people you follow that genuinely engage with people. Because again, there's a lot of talk online about people think there might be a connection between people commenting on pages they don't follow and doing it multiple amount of times and having their accounts shadow banned and having issues with their account. I think it wouldn't surprise me if Instagram is able to know what you're up to when you're doing stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, if you do it once or twice, I'm sure they don't care. But if you're constantly commenting on people's pages that you don't follow, that probably does bring up some red flags. So I just mean like just using the app. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't just log in, post, and then leave. I guess that's what I meant. It's like try and use it organically so you
Yeah.
look like you're a genuine user of the
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, well, I think we will wrap it up there. So just before we finish, if there's anything additional like you'd like to share, or where can people find you? Pole Destroyer's website, tell us all the good stuff. And
Yeah, like come and obviously like this was super short. Like there's no way that we were going to be able to go over loads on social media, but like um yeah, I have a lot that I'd love to teach you all. So please do keep an eye out on the new course that's coming soon. Check me out on at Dan Rosen Pole. That's where you can find me and you can get the links to all of my other websites and stuff from there. But yeah, reach out if you have any questions. I'm happy to help you. And yeah, just keep pushing through. Social media is such a bitch, but when you persevere, it's definitely worth it. And it takes some time, but you'll get there eventually. And it can sometimes be the making or breaking of people's pole careers. So I would just say, like, persevere with it. It's definitely worth it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for joining us.
Love you
And
too. Thank you for having me.
I will catch up with you soon. Thank you, everyone else, for joining. We're going to log off and then we will be logging back on for Chloe's workshop shortly. So I'll see you all then. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. See you.
Bye,
See
bye,
you
bye.
soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.